We are live. Live and in color. Ow! Yes. The champ is here. Champ is here, bringing you another dynamic episode, heart to heart, helping you to understand that intimacy is more than just sex. In a world where conversations are typically superficial, we dive deep, uncovering secrets, exploring true desires of what it means to be intimate. Tune in Mondays and Wednesdays as we peel back the onion, have heartfelt conversations, and we bring on experts to talk about the challenges that most people have in their relationship. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. We all need a safe space. And this champ Frank, let's go.
They said I wouldn't make it, but I'm here now.
I'm here right now. Ow!
And I'm here to stay, never go down. Cause I'm a champion. A champion. Cause I'm a champion.
Champ is here.
Cause I'm a champion. A champion.
Oh my gosh. Love on me. Come on, man. Come on. Love on me right now. Thank you all for coming to the show. Share with me. Yes. Oh my God. Love on me. Man. Thank you all so much for joining the show. You are amazing. Thank you all. I got Instagram followers coming on right now. And I'm excited. And you should be too, because we're about to get after it. We're about to uncover some things that we often don't talk about, or if we talk about it, what's up, bro? What's up? We have challenges, and if you're a male like me, growing up, we were required I know for me at 6. That I had to be emotionally numb. Nobody cared about my feelings. Nobody wanted, oh my gosh, watch this. Nobody wanted to see me cry. Nobody was there to hug me and say it's going to be okay. I'm sorry that happened to you. Although I was 6, and this is my first time being 6, and I don't know about life. I don't know about crossing the street looking both ways. I don't know that, adults. I don't know that it's important to turn in my homework every day or whenever I got an assignment. I'm learning. I don't know what cause and effect, decisions and consequences. I don't know all that. But I gotta suck it up. At 6. And a lot of men, we have been bottled up, holding in pain, holding in frustration because nobody want to hear it. And then you decide that, you know what? Nobody want to hear me. I'm not going to say anything. So from this point on in my life, when somebody asks me, how am I doing? Because I feel like they don't care anyway. Nobody cares since I was 6. Since nobody cares, I'm just going to tell them I'm good. And I'm going to bottle this up and put this experience somewhere, hopefully where nobody can find it. Or I ain't going to show it to nobody because nobody cares anyway. And then we decide that we really need to find love, because according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we're all chasing that feeling of loving and belonging. Where can we belong, right? The problem is that we don't have a safe space where we can be vulnerable. And so, if we're men and we're in relationships, and the woman that we're with want us to be vulnerable, like, are you serious? That is foreign to me. And so so I can't give it to you. I can't share it with you. And so it gets crazy. Oh my god, my brother's right here, man. Oh my gosh, it touches my heart. Because you understand where I'm coming from, and if you want to come on and talk, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, what's up, bro?
I
Yes, oh my gosh, this is absolutely fantastic, man. Thanks and welcome to the show. We gotta give you a round of applause coming on, supporting your brother. So yeah, you on live and in color right now, and you dark like the guy in like a someone who is snitching and don't want to be seen. So it's like really, is no, you ain't got to turn a light on. I think it's cool. It's dark. Nobody can anybody see you, see your face, so you can actually tell the truth, man. You can be vulnerable.
yeah, everything you're saying, like I can understand what you're saying. I seen it live and direct. I've experienced everything you're talking about, brother. So keep doing what you're doing.
Man, thanks. So that being said, um, what's it been like watching me go through the stuff that I've gone through? Because the thing is, so you got two ways to answer this question, right? You can
Right.
so you can tell me how it's been for you. You know, some of the challenge that you've had, like, one of the things that we're talking about today is the five love languages and managing anger and miscommunication.
Right. Yeah, I understand. Well, managing communication, like as seeing you grow up and growing up in the same type of environment that you grew up in, like you're right. Like nobody cares about how we feel as men growing up. It's just like it's not what we feel. It's like what can we do?
Mm-hmm.
So we always got to do something, and as opposed to sitting back and just like feel and be still and just try to gain an understanding as to what's going on in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, what I want to do right now, and this has been therapeutic for me, and I'm gonna try and do this with you. I want you to go back to a moment in time where you were told to suck it up, right?
right.
And and reverse that moment to where they embraced you and they hugged you and they said it's gonna be okay. Um, go back to that moment, man. Tell me.
I can't recall a moment like that.
I'm talking about where you wanted to say something but you couldn't say anything because you had to suck it up. And what if you were able to talk to somebody about what you were really feeling?
I can't recall a moment where I was able to talk about it.
That's my point. That's
Right.
my point. So if you can find one of those moments where you couldn't talk and just imagine that, oh my gosh. Okay, so here's what it is, right? This is what happened to me. I was 5 years old. I was in kindergarten. I got hit in the head with a bat, plastic bat. Got 7 stitches, right? So I'm laying on the papoose in the emergency room because dad took me to the emergency room because I'm bleeding. So they had me laid strapped down with a papoose, so the little kid can't move around while they do these stitches. And I'm like, while I'm waiting on them for the anesthesia to kick in and whatever else was happening, I turn to dad. I was like, hey dad, can I stay home tomorrow? Can I stay home tomorrow? His response was, no, you're not sick, right? Right? Huh?
I said, but you were.
But I got a stitch. I got a band-aid I got 7 stitches over my eye, right? Down here at the bottom. I think it was like right here, 7 stitches. And I said, man, can you imagine who I would be right now? Or how I would probably feel or how I would respond if that moment was like, son, you know what, you can stay home. And and don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay. Think of the joy, the laughter, or the freeness of expression that I probably would have right now if that moment was different. And that's what happened for me. That's what I did. I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh. So can you, huh?
I could also see the part of if you had too much of that, you wouldn't be the strong man that you are today. So, like, just finding that middle ground, like, it's times that we do have to suck it up, but then it's times that was like, okay, man, I'm a man, I'm a human too. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so it's like that balance you gotta find, especially with children like us. But nobody cared how we felt growing up. It's yeah, you just gotta get, you gotta get out there and do something. And it's like, so if you'd have had too much hugs, then you would have been one way. If you had, it's too much, get up and go. Now you another.
Right. And so
Is that middle ground?
There's that middle ground, right? And so when we look at, so do you think that men are unequipped with the requirements to effectively communicate or have compassion or try to apply the 5 love languages in a relationship?
Nah, nobody, nah, nobody teaches us that. Like we're learning as we go. You know, especially by the time we came in, we didn't know anything about that. We had to figure this out. That's why you're here on the podcast, helping us out, man. And I appreciate you doing that, man, because it's like, hey, we're not equipped with that.
Yeah, we're not.
We got the other side of it. It's like get up and go. Like if somebody, you know, it's just like, man, yeah, we have to do something. We're men. We have to take action. Like nobody cares about a man who can't do something.
Wow. So that's so profound that um that men or young boys are approached in 2 circumstances.
Right.
When they've done something wrong, right? Or when they need you to do something. No other value, no other consideration that they're approaching you other than you did something wrong, or did you do something, or I need you to do something.
Right. You have to produce. Or there is no love.
There is no love. And so it really as we're talking about this, it really becomes challenging.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why it's important for us to talk about this, so that because we have to overcome anger,
Yeah.
right? I got friends, man, punching holes in walls. Um,
I'm
yeah,
one of them.
huh?
I've created a few holes myself.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, we don't have outlets. So, man, I appreciate you having this type of outlet that we can talk about this. So,
Yeah, I appreciate it because um
this space.
this is the safe space where we can talk about these things, and be able to look at how um I could have, how I didn't want what's the alternative to me punching a wall, right? So why do you think um it was important for you to punch a wall?
Because you punch a wall as opposed to a person.
And,
Like, because, the fight or flight, like, we have to either kill something or run from something.
Mhm.
That's our
Yeah,
human
right.
things.
And so because there was no, I'm trying to, I've never punched a wall. Matter of fact, I ain't never like punched. I may have like I ain't hit it like hard, like bam. Being in the military, you would see guys hit the wall and come back, and they get their hand all fractured,
Right.
right? And then they get written up for destruction of government property,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they didn't have an outlet, and the stress and the frustration has to go somewhere.
Right. Yeah. It has to go somewhere, or it just goes inside and we stuff and stack, and eventually it's coming out.
Right.
So how do you let it out? Like, do you have a safe place where you can just go and talk about it? And then when you talk about it, you have to be careful how you talk about it as well, because if you talk about it in the wrong way, if you talk about it in a negative way, you're just gonna always be negative, as opposed to have somebody to talk to where, I mean, again, to have that balance to where it can be a positive talk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like, that's a whole nother conversation right there. You know what I mean, brother?
Right.
How do we let it out? Like, if you got a glass of water and there's urine in there, it's like, hey, add sugar to it. It's not gonna get the urine out.
Right.
And add to it, and like us being men, we got to do something about it. Like, doing something about it is not gonna give you the position to heal from it. It's
Right.
like, sit back.
Wow. Let's go back to that scenario there, right? Where where the urine is in the water. You got some Sugar Avery P, right?
Yeah, right.
You got Sugar Avery P in your water. And the only way to get the Sugar Avery P out of the water is to get more water into the glass.
Or pour the whole thing out.
Or pour the whole thing out. And so that either you get a space where you can get more water into you to flush that out to be able to flow through you, right? Or flow it out of the glass, or you throw away. And in this particular case, what happens is there's self-destruction, right? You just gave in. That's why men have the highest form of suicide in the world, right? And that's something that we gotta look at. And so well, first of all, I'm sorry that you had to experience all that, man. I am so sorry that you went through that at the level that you went through. And if you're listening to the podcast and you're here and you want to come on, you want to join in the conversation, feel free to do that. We welcome anyone who's interested in coming on, comment or anything of that nature. That'd be great. We looking at here the five love language, overcoming anger, and so how how challenge how has it been managing relationships now when you feel misunderstood?
Well, the challenge is it's like, yo, like this a new thing being a grown man at my age, and it's like, yo, I have these feelings, so now I have to talk about them. But I've never been able to talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's something new. Like that's the challenge of itself. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
now you know what I'm saying? Like now now I discovered that I do have these feelings. They do matter.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to talk about. And now, at the age that I am, although now I'm a better communicator than I was as a child, but now it's like these feelings, talking about, them, expressing them, they do matter. Like this is it's a whole new world, man. For
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah, amen. And I'm glad that you're now turning on those feelings, right?
Yeah.
That you have that awareness. I was having a conversation with somebody, and I was telling them that through my marriage and my relationship, I didn't know that I could turn on excitement. I didn't know I could just turn on compassion. I didn't know I can turn it on when my kids come in. Like, hey, what's going on? Hey, I didn't know I can turn that on, but you can turn it on. Turn on excitement. Turn on enthusiasm. And they're like, you can't just turn on feelings like that. Like, yes, I can. If I want to give my kids or my girlfriend, my wife, or somebody a great experience when you come in to see me, I can turn that thing on, right? And so it is hard being a man at 50 and just 3 years ago learning about your feelings.
Right. And knowing that they matter because as men, it's like, hey, your feelings don't matter, man. You have to, it's all about producing,
Mm-hmm.
protecting, providing provisions and protection. Like if you don't do that, you are worthless.
Wow. And here's the thing with that, right? When you familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Right.
And so that providing and protection, that's down at the bottom. So these feeling of loving and belonging, action, esteem, need, and self actualization, we're not introduced to those moments because of the way that we're programmed to only be providers and protectors.
Right. So it's like now we got feelings.
Now you get feelings, and the thing is that in order for you to share with somebody, you have to know what you don't have to know what it feels like. You have to know what it. So this is what I've been using, the feelings wheel.
There you go, bro.
Right? You have one of these?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna send this to you, right? Because what happens is over the last 30 years of your life, right? And I'm helping somebody. The last 30 years of your life, where you was feeling other than peaceful, powerful, and joyful. You couldn't tell anybody you were scared, right? Right over here, scared, right? You can tell anybody you were scared, right? You can tell anybody you were sad, right?
Nope.
Right. So right over here alone in the scared files is 12 different feelings that you don't understand. 12 feelings that you don't even know. You've heard the words, But you've never had the safe space where you can assign that feeling to that experience. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So for example,
You can't tell anybody you scared.
right, right, and so because so you don't so now because you can't tell anybody you scared, this gets suppressed and then it get pushed over in the mad file.
Right.
It gets pushed over in the mad file, and because and so anger and rage, right, and frustration,
Yeah,
furious, huh?
Yeah, you can tell people you mad.
You can tell people that you mad, right? You can tell them you mad, but nobody gives you the space to properly assign it, right? So you know what? I'm not really angry right now. My feelings are hurt. Right there in the mad file. You know what? My feelings are really just hurt, right? I just feel hurt that happened. Or you know what? I'm not really hurt. You know what? I'm just feeling a little selfish. Right? You know what? Now that I look at it, right, I wasn't being selfish. I was just irritated it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Right? Who gives you the space to properly assign those experiences?
Only in groups or like this space that you provide us with. So thank you, bro.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I'm gonna send this to you. It's on my website, champfranklinspeaks.com. You can definitely download the feelings wheel, and then also Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So you can actually see, because this is what changed my life. When I was able to see that there was more to me than just being a provider and protector. That in my relationship with my kids, that I was responsible for providing a safe space for them so that they can talk to me. But and that feeling of loving and belonging. But because I was trained that soft stuff, the feeling stuff, that emotional stuff, who does that? Who processes that? The woman.
Yeah.
Right? The woman is the one who processes that, right? So if you look at the looking at your in the business, right? You looking at Lowe's, right? And the person come up to the register, they want to return stuff, right? They no, you can't do a return here, man. You got to go down to customer service, not realizing the same computer is right there where you are,
Right.
and that's how we are robbed as fathers of having those intimate conversations with our children, and then watch this, then sharing with them, right? Because that in an intimate relationship, reciprocity is required, and so to be able to share and exchange thoughts with your child, so when they come to you, watch this, when they're playing a sport or they didn't get their homework done, and they don't understand math. This is me, right? And they're feeling inadequate, right? But because I wasn't given the space to feel inadequate, come on, watch this. I couldn't connect. I couldn't share when I felt inadequate. So because I don't have this baby down, I need you to go down to the customer service department so that they can process your mama's usually process those feelings, right? She has those experiences. She can share with you because somebody has given her a space to share, right? She's been in groups and girlfriends and everybody else. Oh my gosh. So she's processed those moments. Or at least a couple of them, where she can connect with the kids, or she can say, "Hey, baby, I'm sorry that happened. Well, let me give you a hug or whatever." When last time we had a what from? All right, Frank, from third grade to high school. How many times can you count that you were given a hug and said it's gonna be okay.
Mm.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that part. That part.
Well,
Huh?
man, I gotta get up out of here, man. I love what you're doing, man. Um, Thanks for having me on.
Man, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you so much. You have really made an impact on me. I love you, my brother, and thank you, man. Because here's the thing: you provided content that I wouldn't have had.
Right.
Thank you. So I appreciate you, and I love you, and let me give you some cheers on your way out.
Cheers, Flex, before I go.
Huh?
I want my cheers.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Um, yeah. So that was my brother. I love him. Let me see. Can you able to go? Oh, he can't claim out. So if there's anybody else want to come on and let me hear your thoughts about what we said so far. Tell me, what have you seen and what have you experienced and what your thoughts are, right? Because I'm interested in hearing what you have to say, right? Such sun chasing travels snob. All right, sun travel. But anyway, if you so I have some things I want to share with you in order to help us process these experiences. Uh-oh, who just joined?
Sun chasing travel snob would be Kim.
Oh my gosh!
Hi.
Oh my gosh. Kim, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
I just said excuse me.
Excuse you for what?
I was coughing. I didn't think you heard me.
Oh no,
Sorry.
no, that's fine. But I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. My brother was here. God is good, and we're here talking about the five love languages and overcoming anger and miscommunication. You heard my brother talking, right?
I heard him. Yes, I did.
So what are your thoughts about that?
Mm, You know, well, the unfortunate right now is that I don't have any thoughts on what he's had to share.
Mm-hmm.
But I did find what he had to share interesting because it was coming from Mel's perspective and Mel's experience. And I realized that you all experiences are very different than female experiences, especially those who, excuse me, who did not receive the extra support from either parent growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's primarily our Black men, unfortunately. And the irony is with that, there was a very similar conversation that I was having this morning in the car with my son's father about those things. You know, how my son's life is different than his father's life, that our son has both parents, and, you know, how much love and support I give my baby and how I hug him and I tell him it's going to be okay. And, you know, I support tears. Whereas his father did not receive the same type of, he didn't have the same experience with his own mother. So I just found that interesting from your brother. That's all.
Yeah. And can you see the deficit that your son's father is have to absorb?
Absolutely. Like, I will never be able to understand it in its entirety. I do have a bird's eye view, though. You know, and I see the difference that it has made in some of the choices that he makes if that makes sense.
It makes sense, absolutely. And so it's because where we've grown up and those things were never downloaded on our hard drive. We that concept is so foreign to us, and because as men, as 40-year-old, 50-year-old men, you're required to know. There's no you're required to know. Women want you right now to be able to be emotionally available. Astute with your feelings, right?
I'm going to be rude and interject and just also say that where women fall short of those expectations are that we become mothers of sons, boys,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a disservice that we give to our boys, not realizing that we are negatively affecting their future relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't realize that until we have someone's son. We don't see that when we're raising our own sons, though. But we see it when we are sharing intimacies in life, choosing life partners with sons.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to do better. I think all women should do a little bit better at taking a step back. And so should the men, if both parties take a step back away from the ring and realize and understand that it's a joint effort.
Mm-hmm.
They both have to realize and understand where they both fell short.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about with each other. I'm just talking about the experiences that they have and have not had. Females are very fortunate. Even if the father is not in the home, we still get that love from dad when we see dad.
Mm-hmm.
But boys are different. When the father is absent from the home, you're not getting that support. And moms are so busy taking care of and raising that they forget to get those hugs and have those talks and those conversations. And so if the two people in the relationship can realize and talk about their upbringing, and then start to realize where things differ, they can come up with a solution that works for them in their home.
Mm-hmm. You said something that was very profound. Something that works for them and their home, right?
Absolutely.
And you also said that they need to come out of the ring.
Absolutely.
Right. And so the ring represents fighting, combative, right? Arguing, right? Coming out of the ring and then saying, you know what? We're not supposed to be fighting. You're on my team. How did I end up in the ring with you who I said I love?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But who have, and that's the dilemma that we face in our relationships now, because who told you that you can trust a black man?
Mm-hmm.
Who told you?
Are you asking?
I'm asking you. Yes.
No one told me that I could trust a black man.
Oh my God.
No one.
Oh my.
No one. And I have rest his soul. I have a black father.
Mm-hmm.
I have a black grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
And neither one of them told me that I could trust a black man. So no one.
So here you are, going through life, with a child, a son, with a man who no one can confirm that you can trust.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So where do you get this trust from?
Well, the trust should be established from your experiences, but there's a big but in that.
Right. From what experiences?
So from your experiences with each other.
Oh,
Your
okay.
interactions with each other. But like I said, there's a big but in that, and now we use the term red flags a lot. There are a lot of red flags that happen immediately that we, to the naked eye, can see, but choose to overlook. And those red flags oftentimes are telling us, don't trust this process. You know, get on top of this right now. Don't trust yourself if you're accepting this. Get on top of it right now. So that's where the murky water comes in. You end up treading water, treading, and then all of a sudden it's real thick and it's muddy. And it's just like, what is it? But to your original question, no one taught me to or told me to trust a black man. No one.
Right.
No one. Not even my own father. You know, my father did some things that were not acceptable in life. But one thing's for sure, as his daughter, he cared for me properly. And so there was the red flag. The deception was the relationship. The relationship is that of a father and a daughter. It wasn't that of a father and a significant other. I saw my father not be the best person to his wife, my mother, but he was the greatest person to me. So that's the sorcery. Those are the red flags. It's like, my father was great to me. So, maybe the person who I'm seeing will be great as well until you start to experience. And then you realize, this is what my father did to my mother. So there you go. The relationships are different. If that makes sense.
It makes sense. And that's one of the beautiful parts about being on this show is that it gives you an opportunity to kind of see something that you didn't see. Right? Like, oh my gosh, no one has ever told me to trust you. And so I understand why up to this point I haven't trusted you. Because when conflict happens, when trials happen, you revert back to your training. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm soaking it in right now.
Right. So when you're in the jam, right, you go back to your training, and because nobody trained you how the importance of trusting a man, and then watch this, your guy, right? Who, my gosh, who no one has told him that he's worthy of being trusted. And that he can't trust a black woman or a woman, period.
Right.
So when conflict happens, we revert back to our training, and our training says, do not compromise, do not collaborate, do not give in to this person. Do not accommodate, right? And so we do one or two things. We avoid the conversation, we avoid the situation, or we compete to try to make sure that I win.
That part right there. To compete so that I can win.
Right. And so what I've learned is that when doing conflict management, conflict resolution, there are 5 different options for those resolutions, right? And depending on there's a spectrum, y-axis and x-axis, that depending on your care for the relationship, goes out to the left, right, on the x-axis, and then on the y-axis, depending on the goal that you're trying to achieve. And so if you care less about the relationship and more about the goal, that you're going to compete because you don't really care about this person, right? And if you don't care about the outcome or you don't care about the person, you just avoid it. Right? But if you care a little bit about the person and care a little bit about the goal, then you can kind of compromise where somebody loses something. Yeah, you lose something, I lose something. So we both compromise, or you compromise, right? And then there's I said compromise, and then there's collaboration, right? Where you care most, where you care about the relationship and you care about the person. And that's creates a win-win situation. And then there's, I think it's like defer. The last one, where you care about the relationship more than you do about the goal. So you just accommodate. There it is, accommodate. You're like, oh, go ahead, you can do it, man. It's fine, no problem. You just accommodate. Hey, whatever, you can do whatever. That's I don't care about that. I don't care about this. I care about you. So and so you become accommodating, and so that's what happens in our relationships. That we gotta come to a place where we care about the goal and the relationship, and we work towards collaboration. Right?
Yes, sir. I agree.
So
I agree.
you agree?
I do.
So how is this? How do you feel having this conversation?
I have a little anxiety.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. The realization of what is true, what the facts are, and confirmation on decisions that should be made. Just provide a lot of anxiety.
I understand.
Because it also instills, there's that fear of acceptance. There is the reluctance to accept. It's just like, so you realize that you are trying to control something that you should not be controlling. Because if there's something that you feel that you have to control, it's something that you don't need. You truly don't need it if you have to control it.
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, I thank you for sharing, and thank you for being vulnerable and sharing about that anxiety. I have can I give you a suggestion?
Sure.
So, write down what you think is going to happen. The things that you're anxious about. Write down those things that you think is going to happen, right? And until those things happen, enjoy life. Enjoy the relationships. Enjoy the moment, be present. Because what you're going to find out is the thing that you're anxious about don't ever happen, or rarely ever happens. Can you see that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I see that.
Okay. So
you might be right, but I don't know. I don't know that I see that. My anxiety for what I think will happen is me actually ending our relationship. And I have anxiety about it because I know that that's something that I'm supposed to do.
That you're supposed to end it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the anxiety comes in at.
And so
No,
here's so here's the question: Who told you that you're supposed to end it?
No one told me that I'm supposed to end it. My experiences are the reason why I feel I should end it.
Mm-hmm. Your experiences with that person
Mm-hmm. In the relationship.
and so how can I help?
I don't know that that you can help us.
Mm-hmm.
What you're doing right now is helping me because this is a conversation that I have not been able to have. I'm having it now.
Right. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that you come back, right? Come back, have the conversation. Because I will say, and up to this point, nobody knows who we're talking about. I don't know who we're talking about, right? I don't know the person. I don't know him.
Absolutely.
Right. But at the same time, I care about you. I care about you because you're on my show and you want to talk about it because I'm going to tell you this here straight up like that. I'm in a relationship right now, and I was at my girlfriend's house, and her mom lives with her, and her mom is watching my interactions with her daughter, and the mom told me to tell my ex-wife. She said, "Can you give a message to your ex-wife?" I'm like, "What's that?" Tell her I said, "Thank you for throwing you away."
That's a nice compliment.
The mom told me that she even told my mom to tell my ex-wife that thanks for getting rid of Frank. Because my daughter is having a good time with this amazing guy, and he does X, Y, and Z. He's, whatever. She's smiling, whatever. My point is that she left me at the wrong time. Whatever her reason was, when I got help, when I went to therapy, when I figured this stuff out, that I was more than just that. That I was hurting you. I was hurting her by not giving her a space to express her feelings and emotions. That I was hurting her when we were being sexually intimate and she was not highly aroused. I saw that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want that to happen again. My heart changed towards her, towards women. And I was like, oh my gosh. But she had already decided that, nope, I'm gone. I'm out, bro. Peace out. We good. Bless God. And I got it from here. And I was like, all right. And I continue to go through therapy. I continue to change. And I shared that with you because and I know you've probably been together over 10 years. And part of that, the way I take it y'all don't stay together.
No, we do not.
Okay.
But I was there enough for people to think that we did.
Right. And the reason why that you're not there in the house is because of the inability to manage what we're talking about today. Manage anger and miscommunication.
That's part of the reason,
right.
Not the main or the only.
Right. That's part of it.
That's probably at the bottom.
At the bottom.
Bottom tier though.
Mm-hmm. But it's on the list.
It is definitely on the list.
Right. And I'm tracking. And I again, it's a walk. And I'll say this to you, that you can come on the show anytime you want to. When we get off the show, DM me. I'll give you my number. If you want to talk offline, just so you can have a safe space to talk about that stuff. And and to be able to have that space where you can like, man, this stuff is crazy. And I probably can help you to see it, to see that he really don't know.
So, that is while that is partially true,
Mm-hmm.
it is it's a hurtful it's a really hurtful process because he is cognizant of what he is doing,
Right.
and his lack thereof.
Mm-hmm.
But I will partially agree with you that there is a lot that he doesn't understand or know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm struggling
Mhm.
because I feel like I can't fix it.
Right.
I can't help. And second, I also feel like whatever it is I do to help, it will be for someone else.
Mm.
It won't be for me. And at this point I'm okay with that. I struggled with it for a while, but one of our experiences helped me to help me to start my withdrawal process.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And man, it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
I went through 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
of detox, and it was really, really hard. And the irony at the end of my detox was an interaction that I never thought would happen between the two of us. And surprisingly, I surprisingly was okay. And I had cut the string and was like, wow, I didn't think that I would be able to do that. And I did. And then, of course, within 24 hours of that interaction, I saw who I knew would show up for me
Mm-hmm.
if they ever showed up. And that was the person that I got in the beginning. And so that was the nail in the coffin for me to say, you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing. And now I no longer feel like it's a game.
Mm-hmm.
At first I thought it was a game, but at that point is when I realized it's not a game. You really have no idea who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that once he knows who he is,
Mm-hmm.
it will help.
Yes.
He's got to know who he is.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I have a degree,
Mm-hmm.
but I am not licensed. But I am very confident. People throw around terms real loosely and carelessly these days. But I am definitely dealing with a real narc.
Mm-hmm.
He's a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know it though.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hard part. He doesn't know it. And if I had someone to support me with that and get him to realize who he is, I believe that things would be a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree with you. I was accused of being a narcissist too.
You think that was an accusation, or do you think that there was some facts to it?
No, there. So everyone has every leader has a bit of narcissistic traits, right? But narcissism is at the extreme of those beliefs, right?
Right.
And the thing that the defining trait about a narcissist, different from a leader, is that they lack empathy.
Okay. And
right?
I'm dealing with one of those.
Right. And so the thing is, one of the reasons why I believe that I would that she could say that I was a narcissist is because I didn't have the feelings wheel. I didn't have the, I didn't know what it felt like to, I didn't know that I could actually feel discouraged. So when I found an experience in my life that I assigned to be discouraged, and then now you're talking to me, you've heard me say I'm sorry that you're going through that, right?
I did.
You did, right? And that's empathy. That's empathy. But here I am, just less than 5 years ago, convicted. Bam. The judgment has been settled. You have been assigned a narcissist. But here I am on the phone with you, on a conversation with you, saying, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Right, but see, what's to that is what you said a few minutes ago with your now girlfriend's mother. Your experiences, you sought counsel, so you were able to get into that, and
Right.
now you are a different version
person, right?
of yourselves. But your ex-wife knows you as that narcissist. She did not give you enough time to show her a difference. And that is where, to my point, I feel like the work that I will do and the work that I'm putting in, it will be to someone else's benefit. Because I know that he is guilty. He's guilty. He is definitely a narcissist. And he's a very big narcissist with me. Now, there are levels to, originally, because of my experiences, I had him at the top. He was a covert. He was a covert. But
yes,
as the dust settled and I was able to process my own emotions is when I realized I'm angry at him. So I'm gonna throw all of these names and titles out at him. But I had some time to myself to do a lot of reflection. Being outside of the relationship, I had even more time to myself. And during that reflection time, I realized he's not covert because he is a good person. Inside, he is a good person. And I have seen where he will show empathy. I've seen it, just not towards me. So again, that's when I started doing more math, and it's like most of what is happening, what I'm experiencing, those are my experiences. What I'm getting from him also, those are my experiences, because he's a lot different with other people. So he was downgraded from covert because now I know that you don't lack empathy. It's in there. You only give it to who you want to give it to.
Right.
For
That part.
reason, right?
That part. And
Exactly.
and I was that because I was having a conversation with her, right? My ex-wife. I was talking to her and I said, I had a limited emotional vocabulary, right? That's what I say. I'm learning different stuff. I had a limited emotional vocabulary. And she's like, no, you didn't. You had a limited emotional vocabulary with me.
Right.
But you showed love, compassion, understanding, gentleness, meekness, long suffering with other people. You just didn't do it to me. And that was the frustrating part. That I'm like, I had to accept it. Right? I got it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that that I missed that much. That I didn't know that I can just let her just talk. I didn't know that I could trust her as a person who knew things, and it was okay to do them the way she thought they could be done, and allow that to be okay without my manhood being challenged. I didn't know that.
So the question for us, and I'm speaking for your ex-wife, is it becomes, what is it about me where you lack that empathy? What is it about me where you fall short with me?
Mm-hmm. And
Because when we see it displayed, I mean, heavily displayed for others, and then it's not there for us, it's like, whoa, okay, what did I miss and what happened?
mm, so here's the thing, right? And I often say this a bit. Um, there is praise, there is rewards, there is accolades that other people outside of us recognize that you were nice to Jane or your child, that you were doing matter of fact, sometimes people don't even say you being a good dad, right?
Right.
Right? A man, watch this here, a man showing compassion to his family will get ridiculed.
Yeah.
Will get ridiculed. You're not that kid's friend. You shouldn't be hanging out with your son the way you hanging out with him. Kids should be seen and not heard, right? And he gets ridiculed because I had trouble letting stuff go with my kids. I'm talking about fuming. Hey, they want to go to camp. Why they got to go to camp? I ain't go to camp. Why I got to spend that on that? Like, bruh, I got the money. And my point is that we get punished when we are, most time, not all the time, most times we get punished when we show kindness to our families, our immediate family, the family that we have committed to, that we left our mother and father, and that we've cleaved to them. We get punished. I know I get punished, right? Well, I told my wife that she looked beautiful. Or no, I'm talking about some other woman. I told her that this was going on. You did what? Well, you better not tell your wife that. Who does that? You don't do that. I'm like, all right, you're right. I ain't gonna tell her that. Oh, I ain't gonna. So now I gotta make sure I keep code, because I don't want to be around my friends and slip up and say I was nice to her. No, they like, man, hey, listen, don't you ain't, she tripping. I know she always tripping, man. She tripping. I got it, man. You ain't got to do that stuff, man. I don't do it either. And then it gets reinforced, right?
Mm-hmm.
And therein lies the problem that I had. That I cared more about the accolades that I was getting, because watch this, my love language is words of affirmation. My love language, words of affirmation, physical touch. The biggest thing that you can do for me is to tell me I did a good job. The best thing. The best thing. There's something great about me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go do some more work. Right? But we don't, but because we don't, and she's like, well, I tried to tell you, but I know that you said you supposed to tell me that. And not absorbing and not giving it the same value or the weight that my mom or somebody else in the streets gave me. And it's unfortunate for us. And I'll tell you this here. You can tell him that I told you on the podcast that if he doesn't turn it around today, to turn around today, that it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt when you're like gone for real. And those kids are maybe forced to choose a side. And in the event that they because my kids they chose to follow their mother. And another reason why I had the podcast, because I tell guys it hurt on this side. I know the guys over there, they try to be tough and that so on. No, we hurt. And there's some women who hurt too because the kids went with the father, right? But I'm telling you, all because I didn't provide a safe space. There was not a safe space in my marriage. There wasn't a safe space for my kids. There wasn't a safe space for me. That we didn't have that, and so it was challenging for us to experience a sense of loving and belonging. Right? You still there? Uh-oh. What happened?
I'm here. Yeah,
Okay.
It's just my battery.
Okay. I got you. But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the part where that we gotta say, hey, listen. And to be brave enough to say, hey, listen, this is where I am. You got a choice to make. You got a decision to make, right? And then, unless I see these things here, there's no there. I'm not. I need a safe space. Well, you need a safe space where you can talk and you can share how you feel about something, and the way you share it is right. And the same thing with him. Right?
I mean, I think he got a lot of safe spaces. That's what's got us in this problem with that we in right now.
As far as he has a safe space with you?
No. He's had plenty of friends.
No, but the thing is, the safe space, right? I'm gonna give you this definition before we close, right? Of intimacy. Well, how do you define intimacy?
About that. That's not something that I can answer right off the top of my head.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. Ain't no problem.
It's a trouble.
No, okay. So intimacy is defined as the level of commitment. Intimacy is a commitment, positive, effective, cognitive, and physical closeness that one experiences with a partner in a reciprocal relationship. That a positive, effective, cognitive, and physical closeness that one experiences with a partner in a reciprocal relationship. Now, there are 4 variations of intimacy. The lowest one being what you and I are doing right now is cognitive intimacy, which is exchanging thoughts one with another in a reciprocal relationship, right? And we're both committed to being on the podcast, right? So that's our commitment, right? And then we're also making sure that as we're exchanging with each other, that we're having a positive experience with one another, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's that cognitive intimacy. Then there's spiritual intimacy, which is sharing thoughts about religion and morality and God and exorcism, things of that nature, right? And then there's emotional intimacy, which is choosing to share one's feelings, which is deeply rooted in self-disclosure with another person in a reciprocal relationship. And then there's sexual intimacy, which is choosing to share your body in the form of affection and sexual activities, right? Those are the 4 variations of intimacy. The highest form of intimacy is the sexual intimacy. It's the highest form. The challenge is that we don't value. I didn't know that I had to reciprocate in the conversation. I didn't know that. And so when that light bulb came on my head, I was like, oh my gosh. I was skimming off the top my whole marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what it's like to skim off the top in Chicago. What happens? Right? Yeah, when you get caught skimming off the top, we about to deal with you, bro.
Yeah.
The problem is there's no consequence for us skimming off the top in our relationships. other than divorce or separation. And that's a part of life. Divorce happens, breakup happens, and you're like, you know what? All I need to do is just commit to reciprocity. Make sure that we had a safe space and we had an even exchange, that we could have kept going. That's all I had to do. That was one of the things I had to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, I appreciate you coming on. And for the sake of this conversation, we're gonna say, Angel, thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
And listen, whenever you want to come back, right? I got openings for the next month, right? Just come on.
Okay.
Just come on.
Will do.
Come on Instagram and say, hey, I got my time in. I'm gonna plug in, and I want my time. I want my time with the champ.
Definitely.
Right, and then I'll set aside that time for you. Then we can talk about it, because you got to get it out. You got to be able to understand. You got to be able to see another part of it. And I'm going to leave you with this quote here, right? This is a young lady, Asaji. She's a senator in Kenya, and she has visual impairment, right? And so she's giving a speech, and she says, if all you see is what you see, then you don't see all that can be seen. I'll say it again. If all you see is what you see, then you don't see all that can be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Capiche. I said capiche.
Capiche. And so, and then she left us with these 3 questions, right? Who have you not seen? Who have I not seen? What have I not seen? And watch this, Angel. What about you that has yet to be seen? What about you? What about Angel that is yet to be seen or has not been seen? And I want you to go on your journey, right? And then come on back and we can talk about the living in the possibilities.
Sounds good.
Because you're an amazing woman. And thank you
very much for that.
And your children are amazing. Oh my gosh. I can just imagine just being great children. You're a great mom. It sounds like you got your head on straight. You've been doing great things, giving that love and compassion to your children. Hugging on your son, giving them that love. And I know it's tough. It was tough for my ex-wife too. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that that you had to experience that.
Yeah.
And it's not your fault. And being able to reach him has been difficult. I know it was difficult for me, especially when I'm doing better than my friends.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. All right.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you and we'll talk soon. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right.
Good night.
All right. Good night. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes. That's it. Another amazing show with the champ. You've heard it from Frank, my brother, and Angel came on. We had 2 different conversations. One with the man who has not been given permission to feel, and the challenge and struggle that he's experienced in his life. And then we had a young lady come on and talk about the challenge that she's having with the man who growing and living in the life that our previous guest was talking about. As you can see, we have work to do, people. We got work to do, and it starts now.
Let's go. They said I wouldn't make it, but I'm here now.
This
And I'm here to stay,
has been an
never go
amazing show, and I
down.
just want to thank everybody for coming in.
Cause I'm a champion.
The champ is here. And we're
A
going to keep
champion.
yeah.
Cause I'm a champion. Cause I'm a champion. A champion.
Remember, subscribe, share, like, and come on the show. Remember, Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 o'clock, here, the sky's the limit, don't stop on the moon. And remember, vulnerability is the birthplace of intimate relationships. I'm your host, Sam Franklin.
Let's go. They said I wouldn't make it, but I'm here
So here
now.
right now, you can do it.
And I'm here to stay, never go down. Cause I'm a champion. A champion.
You gotta put in the work.
Cause I'm a
You
champion.
gotta do the work.
Cause I'm a champion. A champion.
Start with you showing up and understanding that you are missing a lot. And it's costing you your relationship. So you gotta get after it. Get after it now. Love you, and we'll talk next time. Champ out.